confidential informant for the FBI for the past 19 years.
Who was Willie Boy Johnson, the first mobster who betrayed John Gotti? Wilfred Willie Boy Johnson was a Gambino crime family associate of mixed Italian and Native American descent. He worked as an FBI informant from 1966 to 1985. He was murdered by the family in 1988. Wilfred Johnson was born in Carnegie, Brooklyn, New York City in 1935 to a father of pretrial Native American descent and a mother of Italian descent. He was raised in Red Hook and he had a dysfunctional and vicious childhood. As he had a deal with an alcoholic and abusive father and absent mother, at the age of 9 he was arrested for robbing a candy store cash register and he was pushed out of a roof of his school during a fight when he was 12 years old. Johnson became a mafia enforcer running a gang of thugs in East New York by 1949. Johnson brought in money for the family, but he was unable to be made doing being a mixed descent. In 1957, Johnson met John Gotti for the first time. Gotti was a 17-year-old high school dropout and Johnson was a street dog, particularly in trouble with the law. When Gotti joined the Gambino family, Johnson came with him. Johnson became known as the Terminator because of his skill with strong arm work, requiring a steady income. Johnson was given a modestly successful gambling operation. Because Johnson was only half Italian from the wrong side of the family, he could never become a made man. However, he brought in money as well as anyone else in the family. The FBI code name for Johnson was Wahoo because of his Native American heritage. In 1966, he was imprisoned for armed robbery and Carmen Federico broke his promise to look after Johnson's wife and children. Johnson decided to become an FBI informant, and he told the FBI about Paul Cicero's avoidance of the FBI wiretaps and bugs. In 1985, his career as an informant came to an end when federal prosecutor revealed his FBI informant status in an attempt to get him to testify against John Gotti in a plea bargain. Johnson refused to enter the witness protection program and the FBI stopped investigating Gotti. Johnson had a curious relationship with Gotti. At one point remarked to Boland, "Sometimes I love him and sometimes I hate him." Johnson did not provide much elaboration except for occasional hints, among them complaints about Gotti's gambling addiction, which often involved, Johnson said, bets up to $100,000 a week. Some of that action, Johnson complained, would be laid off as the modest bookmaking operation, forcing Johnson to absorb the loss. On other occasions, Johnson would say bitterly about Gotti, "You know, he wears these expensive suits now, but he still steals a lot of bullshit. He's still a mod. Don't be fooled by that smooth exterior." On August 29, 1988, Bonanno family hitman Thomas Patera and Felix Gallardo allegedly abused Johnson in front of his Brooklyn home as he walked to his car and shot him to death. The gunman fired 19 rounds at him and Johnson was hit once in each thigh, twice in the back and at least 6 times in the head. The hit team then dropped jack-like cold drops on the street to prevent the possibility of pursuit. Patera had allegedly done his favor to Gotti. In 1991, Patera had accused Johnson of the 1998 murder of John Favara, the man who accidentally struck and killed Gotti's 12-year-old son with his car. In 1992, Patera and Gitano were addicted and tried for Johnson's murder. Gitano was found guilty and Patera was acquitted, but was later convicted of 6 other murders. Johnson is interred in St. John Cemetery in Middle Village, Queens, New York.